Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome to Planescape Torment, the Enhanced Edition. Now, when I first started the game, there was a bit of an intro cinematic, so let's see whether we briefly can find it. Alright, and welcome to Planescape Torment. No words, no narration, just glimpses of another life, of a flashback. And this is going to be somewhat the theme of the game, because we are going to be playing the Nameless One. We don't really know who we are, where we came from, but we kind of keep reviving. That's as much as I know, more or less. I've never played this game myself before. I have watched a bit of gameplay here and there, so I'm not entirely clueless, but a lot of things will be, well, new to me. Alrighty, real quick, options for those that are interested in this. I've set most of the things on default except for maximum HP and level up, otherwise you would normally kind of roll how much HP you get. But let's put it this way, the rule set for this game here is Dungeons and Dragons, which effectively means that for combat there is some strategy involved, but it can often be just more or less completely random anyway, so I'm just gonna say I'm not concerned about the gameplay difficulty itself. I'm just gonna leave it at 3, maybe put it down lower later, I don't know. But that's gonna make it a little bit less bumpy, I feel. And yeah, that's one thing for graphics. I have not really changed anything else, I don't think. Either way, let's begin a new life. Alrighty, character generation. This is the character generation screen. Modify your statistics, and we can also read what the statistics are by just hovering our cursor. So this is Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition. I have very little knowledge about the stats and distribution. I know later editions are in a sense where only every other stat point really matters, but who knows. Strength. This ability score represents your raw strength. A high strength allows you to carry more weight and makes your melee attacks more accurate and damaging. Alright, my strength is average. I can't put it any lower in case you're curious. Wisdom. This ability score represents your intuition, common sense, and willpower. A high wisdom helps you recall memories and gives you a bonus to experience points. Constitution. This ability score represents your physique, hardiness, and state of health. A high constitution gives you more hit points, and, in the Nameless One's case, a faster regeneration rate as well. So we are a troll? I actually have no idea, but we are, then again, a lot of the things and concepts in this game are strange. Is this the return of Thaco? Yes, I think this has Thaco. Charisma. This ability score represents your persuasiveness, personal magnetism, and ability to lead. The higher charisma, the more favorably others will react towards you. Dexterity. This ability score represents your agility, reflexes, and height and eye coordination. A high dexterity makes you harder to hit and aids your thief skills. And then we have intelligence. This ability score represents your memory, reasoning, and deductive skills. A high intelligence helps you regain memories faster and gives you more dialogue option and aids your mage skills. So, I don't know whether more dialogue options are necessarily better, but I usually tend to like to go for higher intelligence, so it is above average now, according to the thing. 15 is exceptional, 17 is genius level apparently. So, I don't really know what I'm doing, to be honest. My first instinct is putting everything to 10 so I don't get a negative, but I only know Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I don't know whether this applies to here. For all I know, this doesn't make a difference. Constitution is the most immediate impact. We have 20 hit points at the beginning. We can make it all the way up to 42 by having it be 18 instead. So some points probably should go in here. I like the idea of going into higher levels of wisdom as well. And then we have 7 more points to use. So put 1 into Dex, 1 into Charisma. I like the more extreme kind of builds, so 3 in here and 2 into Constitution. Whether this is good or not, I don't know. We are the Nameless One. We don't have a name, and so shall it remain, until we figure out. Do I want advice? Sure. If there is something particularly, well, you think is unfavorable on how I built this, feel free to let me know. Like, mechanics-wise, any advice is more than welcome. I'm basically talking to chat here for anybody who might watch the highlight later on. So yeah. Real quick overview for what we meant with Thaco earlier. Thaco is to hit accuracy 0. The O is actually a 0. Either way, what it means is it's a more convoluted way of describing on whether you do or do not hit an enemy when you swing your weapon. Basically, each point increase of chance to hit is just 5%. That's just kind of as an average. And usually there's at least a 5% chance to miss and 5% chance to hit regardless of your stats for critical hit and critical failure. Although I do not know necessarily for how well this goes. So basically, you always roll a d20 for most things. To Rump Armor class 0. Nice. Hey Thalfon, thank you so much for 34 months of support. That's quite a long time. Welcome back, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. Alrighty, in 2nd edition, stats are mostly the same from numbers 7 to 14-ish. Oh, is that why it's in Wizardry the same? Sorry, I need to shut up. You don't advise getting all the 10s in the stats. Alright, so anything, so the 10s don't matter basically. So my instinct is to just go for something, maybe put everything else into wisdom and leave everything here. That way we have 2 exceptional stats that we are decently good at, and we have a bit more health. I think the bit more health might actually help here. Alrighty. Except, we can always redo it. This is the beginning. So in the intro scene, we've seen a zombie or something of that description carry us over here.
Hey, Chief. You okay? You playing corpse or you putting the blinds on the dusties? I thought you were a deader for sure.
I see. I think I should adjust the volume so the voice volume is going to be a bit more stronger compared to the rest. But let's see. Can I do this right now? No, I have to complete the dialogue first. So this skull apparently is called Mort. Who are you? Huh? Who am I? How about you start? Who are you? I don't know. I can't remember. You can't remember your name? Huh. Well, next time you spend the night in this burg, go easy in the bub. Name's Mort. I'm trapped in here too. Trapped? Yeah, since you haven't had time to get your legs yet, here's the chant. I've tried all the doors, and this room is locked tighter than a chastity belt. We're locked in... where? What is this place? It's called the mortuary. It's a big black structure with all the architectural charm of a pregnant spider. The mortuary? Why? Am I dead? Not from where I'm standing. You got scars aplenty, though. Looks like some Burke painted you with a knife. All the more reason to give this place a laugh before whoever carved you up comes back to finish the job. Scars? How bad are they? Well, the carvings on your chest aren't too bad, but the ones on your back... Mort pauses. Say, looks like you got a whole tattoo gallery on your back, Chief. Spells out something. Tattoos on my back? What do you say? Heh, looks like you come with directions. Mort clears his throat. Let's see. It starts with... I know you feel like you've been drinking a few kegs of Styx Wash, but you need to center yourself among your possessions. Oh, among your possessions is a journal that'll shed some light on the dark of the matter. Farrot can fill you in on the rest of the chant. He is not in the dead book, if he is not in the dead book already. Farrot? Does it say anything else? Yeah, there's a bit more. Mort pauses. Let's see, it goes on. Don't lose the journal, or we'll be up the sticks again. And whatever you do, do not tell anyone who you are or what happens to you, or they'll put you on a quick pilgrimage to the crematorium. Do what I tell you. Read the journal and then find Farrot. No wonder my back hurts. There's a damn novel written there. As for that journal, I'm supposed to have with me. Was there one with me while I was lying here? No, you were stripped on your skins when you arrived here. Besides, looks like you got another journal penned on your body. What about Farrot? Do you know him? Nobody I know, but then again, I don't know many people. Still, some birds got to know where to find Farrot. Once we get out of here, that is. How do we get out of here? Well, all the doors are locked, so we'll need the key. Chances are one of the walking corpses in this room has it. The walking corpses? Yeah, the mortuary keepers use dead bodies as cheap labor. The corpses are dumb as stones, but they're harmless, and won't attack you unless you attack first. Is there some other way? I don't want to kill them just for the key. What do you think? It's going to hurt their feelings? They're dead. But if you want a bright side to this, if you kill them, at least they'll have a rest before their keepers raise them up to work again. Well, alright. I'll take one of them down and get the key. Well, before you do that, arm yourself first. I think there's a scalpel, one of the shells around here. Alrighty, and we're instructed to search the room for weapons and other stuff. Alright, I'll look for one. One last thing. Those corpses are slow as molasses, but getting punched by one is like being kissed by a battering ram. If they start getting on edge on you, remember you can run. They can't. Use it to keep some distance if you need to recover. Alright, thanks for the advice. Alrighty, let's see how this is going to go. And welcome everybody, hope you're doing well. So, we have items to select, Spells to select if we had any. Special ability to select if we had any in dialogue. We don't have any. Weapons, we have fists. Formations, the standard I suppose. Abort current action, select all characters. I'm just taking a look at things right now. I assume I can save? Let's just save. Because stuff can always go wrong. Alrighty, Metal Bear, thank you so much for 54 months of support. That's a crazy long time. Welcome back, and I'm glad you enjoy your stay. Alright, this game here, I don't know whether this was in the original, but if I hold tab, I can see the areas around me. So we have Mort and the nameless one.
What's up?
Can we take a look at the inventory or statistics of a character? Mort is a fighter. I'm a fighter apparently as well. Neither of us have particularly many, well, health points. He has an AC of 2. I think the lower the AC, the better in this game. I have an AC of 10. Oh boy. He has a lot of dexterity and constitution actually. That's surprising because he has really low health. Is he lower level or something? I'm fighter level 3 and he's level 2. He is lower level. There's a whole lot of statistic stuff. I don't really plan on taking too close a look at this. But hey. Wait, it also said something about human. Mort is a fighter. Mort is Mort, apparently. I'm a human. Mort is Mort. Alright, let's take a look. The slab is covered with dried blood and other remains. Also, before I forget about it. Let's see. Voice is maxed out. Let's just reduce everything else a bit. So the voice is going to stick out a bit more. Command feedback level? Right, I remember. Alright. These barrels contain a murky liquid. It smells like a cross between vinegar and formaldehyde. Okay, more of these barrels. Looks like someone is in the middle of dissecting this corpse. A system of rails is running through the whole room. It looks like the slabs in the room can be moved on these rails. Which actually is an interesting point. When I first watched the intro in preparation for this playthrough, I was thinking, man, that skeleton is pretty strong to be able to like push this gigantic slab, but these things are on rails, so it actually makes a lot more sense. Right. I think it's quite fascinating attention to detail. Let's see if we can check this thing, and here we have 2 bandages. They heal 3 hit points. Useful for stunging minor wounds. Maybe I should read the description more closely at some point. I assume this is closed. This door is locked. You'll need a key. Alright. What else do we have? There is more stuff. Some zombie workers. And, well, they are not aggressive, so let's see what we have. Here we got a scalpel. He's going to tell us to equip it now, I would think. Alrighty.
Alright, you found the scalpel. Now, go get those corpses. And don't worry, I'll stay back and provide valuable tactical advice.
Well, maybe you could help me, Mort.
I will be helping you. Good advice is hard to come by.
I meant help attacking the corpse.
Me? I'm a romantic, not a soldier. I'd just get in the way.
Alright then, I don't want to be that aggressive yet. Although you can attack by selecting a weapon from the quick menu, pressing the A key also toggles the attack cursor. Let's go. But I'm pretty sure I should probably equip this before we do anything else. So this is not my default weapon if I were to guess. And the scalpel. Deals 1, 2, 3 piercing damage. Not usable by priest. It's etched. Wonder whether the fist. This is 1, 2, 3 crushing damage. It's actually the same amount of damage, just a different damage type. The second syllable in scalpel is shortened like scalpel. Okay, thank you, Thalfan. Appreciate it. Alrighty, what else do we have here? Tables. Nothing in this table. Like the other corpse in this room, it's completely gutted. Oh boy. A bloody cloth covers the remains of this corpse. The stench rising from the body is almost unbearable. There we have 3 zombie workers. Dried blood covers the slab surface. Right. Let's see. Zombie worker, can we talk to you? This corpse stops and stares blankly at you as you approach. The number 782 is carved into his forehead, and his lips have been stitched closed. The faint smell of formaldehyde emanates from the body. Examine the corpse to see if it's carrying a key. This corpse looks like the one with the key. It is holding it tightly in its left hand. Its thumb and forefinger locked around it in a death grip. It looks like you'll need to hack the corpse's hand off to get the key free. Let's talk to the others first, or see what they have to not say, I guess. This corpse head lolls back and forth on its shoulders. Judging from the angle of its neck, it looks like this man may have been hanged. The number 825 has been painted on the side of his head. Well, examine this corpse. This corpse is carrying nothing, but you happen to notice its hands are heavily bandaged. The bandages might be usable if the corpse was disposed first. It was great talking to you. Farewell. Of course, they don't say anything. This shambling corpse looks like it has been dead for several years. The skin along its forehead has peeled back, revealing its chalk-white skull. Someone has chiseled the number 569 into the exposed bone. Examine the corpse. This corpse doesn't appear to be carrying a key, and it doesn't look like it would be able to use one if it did. Its fingers are broken, as if someone smashed him with a hammer. You do happen to notice that its left shoulder is heavily bandaged. The bandages might be usable if the corpse was disposed first. Well, I guess we know where the key is, so... suppose we're gonna hit this one, or try to anyways. But yeah. Well, that was quick. And here we have the preparation room key. The head of this bronze key has been twisted around itself several times so that it resembles a screw. If Mort is to be believed, it unlocks one of the doors in the preparation room. Alright, one of them, not all of them. There's a bunch of doors everywhere. Can also activate always running in the options. Yeah. So here's the thing. In these games, I like to just kind of take in the environment. Okay. Oh, that's the... But I also need to get familiar with the controls first. But thank you for the heads up, I appreciate that. As usual, for anybody who may have just recently come over, I do appreciate mechanical advice, preferably no story spoilers, but in this game actually, if you would like to, you can also tell me like useful combat tactics. Normally, I prefer to figure them out myself, but who knows. It's an old D&D game, and these are not always fair. Can we quick save? I don't know whether we can quick save. Lost item, so we actually consumed the key. The door ate it.
Psst, some advice, Chief. I'd keep it quiet from here on. No need to put any more corpses in the death book than necessary, especially the femmes. Plus, killing them might draw the caretakers here.
I don't think you mentioned it before. Who are these caretakers?
They call themselves dustmen. You can't miss them. They have an obsession with black and rigor mortis of the face. They're an adult bunch of ghoulish death worshippers. They believe everybody should die, sooner better than later.
I'm confused. Why do these dustmen care if I escape?
Weren't you listening? I said the Dusties believe everybody's got to die, sooner better than later. You think the corpses you've seen are happier in the dead book than out of it?
Well, let's see. The corpses I've seen here, where did they all come from?
Death visits the plains every day, Chief. These shamblers are all that's left of the poor sods who sold their bodies to the caretakers after death.
Alright, and that's the one question to ask, I suppose. Before, you said something about making sure I didn't kill any female corpses. Why?
Are you serious? Look, Chief, these dead chits are the last chance for a couple of hardy bashers like us. We need to be chivalrous. No hacking them up for keys, no lopping their limbs off, things like that.
Last chance? What are you talking about?
Chief, they're dead. We're dead. See what I'm going?
You can't be serious.
Chief, we already got an opening line with these limping ladies. We've all died at least once. We'll have something to talk about. They'll appreciate me with our kind of death experience.
Wait, didn't you say before that I'm not dead?
Well, alright, you might not be dead, but I am. And from where I'm standing, I wouldn't mind sharing a coffee with some of these fine, sinewy cadavers I see here.
Mort starts clacking his teeth, as if in anticipation.
Of course, the caretakers would have to part with them first, and that's not likely.
Alright, I'll try to remember that.
Look, Chief, it's obvious you're still a little addled after your kiss with death, so I got 2 bits of advice for you. 1, if you got questions, ask me, alright?
Right, if I have any questions, I'll ask you.
2nd, if you're half as forgetful as you seem to be, start writing stuff down. Whenever you come across something that might be important, jot it down so you don't forget.
If I had that journal I was supposed to have with me, I would do that.
Start a new one then, Chief. No loss. There's plenty of parchment and ink around here to last you.
Alright, couldn't hurt. I'll make a new one then.
Use it to keep track of your movements. If you ever start to get cloudy on important things like who you are, or more importantly, who I am, use it to refresh your memory.
Alright, we can access the journal from the quick menu. Alright, let's go.
Updated my journal.
Updated my journal. Where is it? There's Find ferret. From what more to read from the directions tattooed on my back, I need to find someone named Ferret. I'm not certain where to start looking. Hopefully, asking some of the locals in this strange place will allow me to track him down and find your missing journal. From what Mortar read from the directions tattooed on my back, I was supposed to have a journal with me. When I woke up in the mortuary, I better find it. Hopefully it can help me figure out what's going on. Talking to party members is actually pretty important in this game. Good to know. Let's see. Most profitable job in RPG games, keymaker. Just think about it. They need to sell a new key every time one gets used up, pretty much. Alright, let's talk to Mort.
Hey, what's eating you, Chief?
I guess I gave him a bit of a different voice. Let's see. Nothing at the moment. Alrighty. Let's see. Just take a look at these zombie workers. The shambling corpse gazes at you with vacant eyes. Her skin is paper thin, almost wispy. It's like someone draped a sheet of cobwebs across her frame. The number 594 has been scratched onto her forehead with a charcoal pencil. I could ask her whether she's doing anything later. Let's just do it. So, doing anything later? The corpse continues to stare at you. Farewell then.
Psst, hey, you see the way she was looking at me, huh? You see that? The way she was following the curve of my occipital... What kind of bone, dude? Occipital... My skull?
You mean that blank-eyed beyond the grave stare?
What? Are you blind? She was scouting me out. It was shameless, the way she wanted me.
Oh my goodness. I think you and your imagination need some time away from each other.
Yeah, whatever. When you've been dead as long as I have, you know the signals. They may be too subtle for you to pick up on, but that's why I'll be spending my nights with some luscious recently dead chit, while you're standing around going, huh, what's going on? Where's my mama memories?
Whatever, Mort, let's go. Occipital. Occipital? Back part of the skull. Alrighty, thank you. Occipital. Did I not write down the numbers of these zombies? I think that was relevant at some point. The left side of this woman's face looks as if it was caved in with a club, and her flesh sacks in bruised, swollen clumps over her ruined skull. The number 626 has been stitched into the corpse's right cheek, just below the eye. Nasty wound you got there. The corpse continued to stare at you with its one good eye. So you kind of can discern on what happened to them when they were alive. This corpse is lumbering along a triangular path. Once it reaches one of the corners of the triangle, it pauses, then turns and staggers towards the next corner. It has 965 tattooed on the side of its skull. As you approach, it halts and stares at you.
Heh, looks like someone forgot to tell this sort to stop walking the rule of threes.
What do you mean?
These corpses don't have much left in the attic, so they can't do more than one task at a time. When they are told to do something, they'll keep doing it until someone tells them to stop. This poor sod probably finished some task, and they forgot to tell him.
You said something about the rule of threes. What do you mean by that?
Updated my journal.
Well, the rule of threes is one of those laws about the planes, about things tending to happen in threes, or everything is composed of 3 parts, or there's always 3 choices, and so on and so forth.
You don't sound like you hold much faith in it.
It's a lot of wash, if you ask me. If you look for a number, any number, and try to attach some great meaning to it, you're going to find plenty of coincidences.
I definitely agree with that. Let's see. I see. Before you said someone put this corpse to task and forgot to tell them to stop. Who gives these corpses these tasks to do?
Either one of the caretakers here, or else whatever necromancer raised them out of the dead book. Probably one of the caretakers here. They're the ones who need the cheap labor, after all.
Alright. I want to examine the zombie a bit more. So, while you're walking in a triangle, the corpse stares at you blankly. Well, of course, bloodstains, rust, and other remains cover the surface of this metal slab. It is much larger than most of the other slabs, and it is sitting on a platform that allows it to be rotated. Okay, both of these have the same text. I imagine this is a closed gate as well. Nope, I actually have the key for it, apparently. Nothing on here. And more people that are not alive anymore. Oh. Room logbook. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Oh. 13 copper coins and fist irons. That sounds like a new weapon. probably lifted those from some of the corpses around here, if I were to guess. And a bunch of zombie workers. No. Alright, take a look. Fist irons, 2 to 4 crushing damage, which is probably better than what I have. Wait, can I dual wield weapons? Wrist. Oh, that's the equipment. Left ring, chest, eyeball.
To part with that.
Eyes cannot be removed, only switched. Alright. I suppose that makes sense. And 2. Gonna be interesting, isn't it? And Mort. Oh boy. Mort's bite. 1, 2, 3 piercing damage. Proficiency, fists. Don't ask. Mort's bite is lethal and he can masticate someone to death. As long as his quick weapon slots are not all filled, Mort can always select bite as his current weapon. Alright, sure. Let's take a look at the receiving room logbook. This huge logbook lists mortuary procedures in a tight, cramped script. All shells entering the mortuary are to be delivered to the receiving room and locked with the scribe on duty before being embalmed or cremated. The records are to be checked to determine if the shell is one of the contracted, and if so, do not prepare the shell. Move the shell to one of the preparational rooms. Contact the scribe on duty and notify him that a contracted shell has to be raised. So basically the dead people are not people anymore, they're just shells at that point. Contracted. And if they're not contracted, they are actually cremated, which actually means that unless we were before cremation here, well, actually, this kind of means two things, if you think about it, based on how we, the Nameless One, arrived. One, it means that we are not to be cremated, which means we have a contract of some description, or had, I suppose, which is why we were there, and apparently, one of the scribes on duty, or a scribe on duty, has been notified about us being here to begin with. Probably. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Let's see. Be certain that a shell is thoroughly stripped of its possessions before being sent out to the preparation rooms. The contracted workers are intended for simple manual labor and do not have the capacity to search or strip a shell. Alright. Oh wait, the scribe probably already did the thing. In that case, they stripped us of our belongings, so maybe we find a journal on one of the scribes. The faction is not responsible for any possessions lost or items stolen by collectors who have brought the shells to the mortuary. The shells' possessions are to be stored in the receiving room until an initiate can be sent to claim them. Please catalogue all possessions in the logbook. Following this list is 1,000 of entries of bodies that have been sent into the receiving room. As you flip through the rest of the book, however, you notice the last page has been cut out. Ah, the page where we would be on, huh? Well, that's less than ideal. Interesting. Let's see what these zombies have. The smell of formaldehyde emanating from this corpse is particularly strong. It smells like it was applied recently, and with good reason. This corpse appears to be in an advanced stage of decay. Her jaw is missing and some of the flesh has slid off her skull, revealing the number 1072 chiseled into the bone. I think this one's seen better days. The corpse does not respond to your voice. The fact it has no jaw may have something to do with it. Either that, or it simply has nothing to say. Very well then. The number 1201 has been inked on the forehead of this corpse, and the ink has run down its eyes, and cheeks, and jaws. As you follow the ink tears down the corpse's face, you notice it has run into the stitching sealing the corpse's lips, and has caught on what looks like the corner of note stuck in the corpse's mouth. Well, try to pull the note out. The note has mingled with the ichor in the zombie's mouth. If you try to pull the paper out through the corpse's stitches, it would tear the paper to shreds. Hacking up the corpse to get it hacking up the corpse to get at it looks like it will destroy the note. You'll need to find a delicate way to remove the stitches before removing the note. Well, use a scalpel to cut through the stitches. You deftly slice through the stitches, sealing the corpse's mouth, and the jaw sags open. You carefully pull the note from the corpse's mouth. Despite the condition of the paper, the writing on it still appears legible. Alright. Leave this corpse in peace. Did we get a note, I suppose? Note from corpse 1201. Which, I don't know what the highest number of the corpses is. That actually would be an interesting thing about the logbook entry, kind of giving us an idea on what the number of corpses are up to at this point. Like, is this a more recent one, or is it an old one? Who knows? This foul-smelling note retrieved from the mouth of one of the mortuary zombies. It looks like it was sewn into the corpse's mouth by accident. Despite its condition, the writing is still legible. Alright, let's see. Please, to whatever dustman reads this, I beg of you. I know of my legal obligation under the terms of the dead contract, but I am prepared to offer more than my signing fee if you will cremate my body rather than raising it. I have arranged for this note to be left with my body upon my death. If you are reading this, then please use this note as instructed and keep the result in exchange for my contracted duty. Let my contract number serve as the key. It looks like the corpse was too late to prevent the raising. But you notice that beneath the writing is a diagram. It looks like directions for folding the parchment into a strange pattern. Note, if you are ever capable of examining an object further, or perform an action on the object outside the world screen, a Use button will appear for the object on this examine screen. This button allows you to manipulate the item through a dialog screen. If you wish to examine the diagram on this note further, select the Use button below. Alrighty. This foul-smelling note has a strange-looking diagram inscribed beneath the writing. It looks as if it's instructing you to fold the corners of the note as their points touch the center. There is a series of strange marks on each corner. 1 mark on the upper right, 2 marks on the lower right, 3 marks on the lower left, and no marks on the upper left. Alrighty, so... nothing on the up left, so it's up left, up right, bottom left. No, bottom right. So in a circle. Unless we don't start with a 0. And hey, Beavercur, yes, I know how much text there is, which is why I'm going to be playing this game probably in a relative short burst. And welcome everybody, I hope you're doing well. Well, I guess I'm gonna start with the 0, so... the upper left in this case first. Fold the upper left into the center. And then the next one is... upper right, then bottom right. Fold the upper right into the center. Fold the lower right into the center, and then the lower left into the center. Unfold the note, start again. So that wasn't quite it. Yaga plays dark comedy, something like that. It is definitely a bit more on the dark side. Kind of graphically descriptive. Let's see. Maybe I need to fold it in and out a certain amount of times. By the way, if anybody does not know the solution to this puzzle, feel free to guess along on what it might entail. Let's see. Maybe we... It looks like if it's instructing you to fold the corners to the note so their points touch the center. Alrighty, so let me actually make a little note real quick so I don't keep having to scroll up to look. So there's a series of strange marks in the corner. Alright, upper right is 1. 2 marks on the lower right. 3 marks on the lower left. And 0 on the top left. Alright. So I'm just gonna begin with the top right in this case. Or maybe this is the amount of time I have to fold it. Who knows? Let's see. Fold the upper right into the center. Oh, it's just unfold the note and start again. That's not what I meant. That's fine. Then the bottom right. Then the bottom left. Then the upper left. Well, that's not it either. Maybe I did something wrong first time. Fold the upper left first. Then the upper right. Then the lower right and then the lower left. Nope. So I can do something with this. Perhaps it's programmed and 0 goes before the 1. Well, yeah, I've tried now both going with 0, 1, 2, 3, and I tried going 1, 2, 3, 0. But neither seems to be the solution, unless I'm missing something. Want a hint? Maybe. Maybe I'll figure it out later. I assume there's no other hint in the game for this one. This is just kind of its own thing. Reread the note. Sure. Leave this note alone and we're gonna reread the note. Let's see. Let my contract number serve as my key. Ah, there we go. That's what it is. 1201. 1 at the end? There we go. Let my contract number serve as the key. So 1 in the top right. So the 1, then the lower right, and then the top left. And then, I guess the last one. Ah, there we go. Good idea to reread the note. As you fold the upper right corner back to the center, the lower left corner mirrors the action. Until all the corners touch in the center, you watch for a moment, and the corners of the pyramid or the paper rise up, turning the note into a small four-sided paper pyramid. Alright, let's open the sides of the pyramid. You peel back the sides of the pyramid, and the paper disintegrates to dust. Inside is a small triangle-shaped earring. It catches the light and gleams brightly. Take the triangle earring. Well, that's interesting. Triangle earring. You receive this small earring from folding a note in the mouth of one of the walking corpses in the mortuary. It's a beautiful earring, but despite its beauty, all it seems to do is remind you how strange this world you've woken up to is. Alright, this is a magical item and we might be able to identify it. Let's see, if you cannot determine what the item is at first glance, then you may need to take it to someone with a higher lore skill than you, or your party members. What is my lore skill? Statistics. Lore is 23. And your lore is 2. He does not know anything. Alright, fair enough. I should be able to identify it, I guess. Oh, or not. I either need a scroll or a spell, as is tradition. Right, I do not have high enough lore. Can I equip it anyways? I can. None of my statistics obviously change here. I'm just gonna leave it in my inventory instead of equipping it for now at least, just so I remember that this is here. You found a D4, be careful not to step on it. You can use the number keys to select the dialogue options. Yes, I'm aware, thank you. I mainly don't do that because... Oh. Somebody's writing in a big book. I mainly don't do that so people know what I'm actually selecting. The zombie worker. We haven't talked to all of them yet. Maybe more of them have interesting things. This female corpse is making the rounds from slab to slab in the room. Her hair is knotted into a long braid and looped around her neck like a noose. Someone has stenciled the number 1096 onto her forehead, and her lips have been stitched close. Alright, leave the corpse alone. We know that we don't need to talk to them at this point. This corpse is shuffling from slab to slab, bandaging the corpses lying there. The number 396 is carved into his left temple, and his lips are stitched closed. You notice the corpse is carrying a roll of bandages in its hand. The bandages look usable. Try and take the bandages from the zombie. You snake your hand out and take the roll of bandages from the corpse's hand. The corpse doesn't even seem to notice. It continues on through the motions of bandaging the bodies. Alright, we got some bandages, I guess. Well, it's not a cursed item because I technically already equipped it briefly. This corpse has been completely wrapped in bandages like a mummy. These barrels contain murky liquid. It smells like a cross between vinegar and formaldehyde. This book is huge. It must contain thousands of names. Alright, and here we have Dhal. The scribe looks very old. His skin is wrinkled and has a slight trace of yellow, like old parchment. Charcoal grey eyes lie within an angular face, and a large white beard flows down the front of his robes like a waterfall. His breathing is ragged and irregular, but even his occasional coughing does not slow the scratching of his quill pen. Greetings.
Whoa, Chief, what are you doing?
I was going to speak to the scribe. He might know something about how I got here.
Look, rattling your bones with dusties should be the last thing.
Before Mort can finish his rant, the scribe begins coughing violently. After a moment or two, the coughing spell dies down, and the scribe's breathing resumes its ragged wheeze.
And we especially shouldn't be swapping the chant with sick dusties. Come on, let's leave. The quicker we give this place a laugh, the better.
Before Mort can finish, the scribe's eyes flicker to you. The weight of years hangs heavy upon me, restless one. He places down his quill. But
I do not yet count deafness among my ailments.
Restless one, do you know me?
I know you.
There is a trace of bitterness in the scribe's voice as he speaks.
I have never known you, restless one. No more than you have known yourself.
He is silent for a moment.
For you have forgotten, have you not?
Who are you?
As always, the question. And the wrong question, as always.
He bows slightly, but the movement suddenly sends him into a bout of coughing. He pauses for a moment, catches his breath.
I am Dhal.
Perhaps you can answer some questions for me, Dhal.
Updated my journal.
Very well. What did you wish to know? Well, what is this place?
You are in the mortuary, restless one. Again, you have come.
Before he can finish, Dhal breaks into a coughing fit. After a moment, he calms himself and his breathing resumes its ragged wheeze.
This is the waiting room for those about to depart the shadow of this life.
Tell me about the mortuary, please.
This is where the dead are brought to be interred or cremated. It is our responsibility as dustmen to care for the dead, those who have left the shadow of life and walked the path to true death. Dhal's voice drops in concern. Your wounds must have exacted a heavy toll if you do not recognize this place. It is almost your home.
Show more. I see. Well, there's a lot of information here. Shadow of life?
Yes, a shadow. You see, restless one, this life, it is not real. Your life, my life, they are shadows, flickering of what life once was. This life is where we end up after we die, and here we remain, trapped, caged, until we can achieve the true death.
True death?
True death is non-existence, a state of the void of reason, of sensation, of passion.
Dhal coughs and then gives a ragged breath.
A state of purity.
Sounds like oblivion. Why would anyone want that?
Is it worse than remaining in this shadow of what life once was? I think not.
Well, I see. I have some other questions. How did I get here?
Dhal snorts in contempt, as if he finds the memory repugnant. Your moldy chariot ferried you to the mortuary, restless one. You would think you were royalty based on that number of loyal subjects that lay stinking and festering upon the cart that carried you.
I arrived on a cart.
Updated my journal.
Yes, your body was somewhere in the middle of the heap, sharing its fluids with the rest of the mountains of corpses. Dhal breaks into another violent fit of coughing. Finally, catches his breath minutes later. Your seneschal, Farad, was, as always, pleased to accept a few moldy coppers to dump the lot of you at the mortuary gate.
Oh, who is this Farad?
He is a collector of the dead. Dhal draws a ragged breath, then continues. We have such people in our city that scavenge the bodies of those who have walked the path of true death and bring them to us that they may be interred properly.
Where can I find this Farad?
If events persist as they have, restless one, you have a much greater chance of Farad finding you and bringing you to us again before you find whatever ooze puddle he wallows in this time.
Nevertheless, I must find him.
A slight warning creeps into Dhal's tone. Do not seek out Farad, restless one. I am certain that it will simply come full circle again, with you none the wiser and Farad a few coppers richer. Accept death, restless one. Do not perpetuate your circle of misery.
I have to find him. Do you know where he is?
Updated my journal.
Dhal is silent for a moment. When he finally speaks, he seems to do so reluctantly.
I do not know under which gutterstone Farad lairs at the moment, but I imagine he can be found somewhere beyond the mortuary gates in the hive. Perhaps someone there will know where you can find him.
It doesn't sound you like him much.
There are some I respect, restless one.
Dhal takes a ragged breath and steadies himself.
Farad is not one of them. He wears his ill repute like a badge of honor and takes liberties with the possessions of the dead. He is a knight of the post, cross-trading filth in the lowest sort.
Knight of the post?
A knight of the post, Dhal coughs. A thief! All Farad brings our walls come stripped of all little less of their dignity than they possessed in life. Farad takes whatever he may pry from their stiffening fingers. By the way, I'm not imitating the cough anymore because that's gonna wear out my voice way faster. Did this Farad take anything from me? Dhal pauses, considering. Most likely. Are you missing anything? Especially anything of value? His voice dips as he frowns. Not that Farad would take exceptions to anything that wasn't physically grafted to your body. And sometimes even that's not enough to give his greedy mind pause. I am missing a journal. A journal? If it was of any value, then it is likely lies in Farad's hands. Well, we already have asked where we can find Farad. Well, can you tell me how to get out of here? The front gate is the most obvious exit, but they will not let anyone other than dustmen pass. Dhal breaks into a ragged cough, then continues. One of the guides by the front gate has a key to it, but it is unlikely he will open it for you unless you are extremely persuasive. I see. Well, what is it that you do here? Oh, actually, no. Do you know who I am?
Updated my journal.
I know scant little of you, restless one. I know little more of those that have journeyed with you, and who now lie in your keeping. I ask that you no longer ask others to join with you, restless one. Where you walk, so walks misery. Let your burden be your own. There are others who have journeyed with me. Are they here?
Updated my journal.
Do you not know the woman's corpse interred in the memorial hall below? I had thought that she had traveled with you in the past. Dhal looks. He is about to start coughing again. Then he catches his breath. Am I mistaken? Where is her body? The Northwest Memorial Hall on the floor below us. Check the biers there. Her name should be on one of the memorial plaques. Mayhap that will revive your memory. I don't know. I don't recall ever traveling with a woman. Dhal makes no response to this. He simply stares at you in silence. Before you said there were others interred here who journeyed with me. Where are they? Doubtless there are, but I know not their names nor where they lie. One such as you has left a path many have walked, and few have survived. Dhal gestures around you. All dead come here. Some must have traveled with you once. I find no fault with your reasoning. I have some other questions, though. What do you do here? I am a scribe, a cataloger of all the shells that come to the mortuary. Dhal coughs again, then takes a deep breath. As long as the stream of corpses flow through the mortuary, I shall remain at my post. You say you have been here more than once. How is it that dustmen do not recognize me?
Updated my journal.
I am the one that catalogs the shells that come to our halls, restless one. Dhal breaks into a fit of coughing, then steadies himself again. Only I see the faces of those that lie upon our slabs. The dark of your existence lies safe with me. All right. You sound ill. Are you not well? I am close to the true death, restless one. It will not be long before I pass beyond the eternal boundary and give the peace that I have been seeking. I tire of this mortal sphere.
Dhal gives a ragged sigh. The plains hold more wonders for one such as I. Oh, the plains hold no more wonders for one such as I. The eternal boundary. The boundary between the shadow of this life and the true death. Alright, what else do we have? Well, farewell, Dhal. As he turned to leave, Dhal speaks. Know this. I do not envy you, restless one. To be reborn as you would be a curse that I would not bear. You must come to terms with it. At some point, your path will return you here. Dhal coughs. The sound rattling in his throat. It's the way of all things flesh and bone. Then perhaps we will meet again, Dhal. Well, that's a lot of information. Also explains as to why the others didn't recognize us. I guess they get a lot of bodies and they don't really want to take a closer look at it at all times. So there's that too. Alrighty. And yeah, welcome. You may raid. Welcome everybody. I hope you have a nice day. Thank you so much for raiding to the host. And welcome to Planescape Torment. This is a decently old game to say the very least. It is when Dungeons & Dragons Edition 2 was still the main thing, and we have just begun our journey as the Nameless One. The short version is, we have no idea who we are or what we have done, except for a tattoo on our back that indicates that we are supposed to have a journal with us. The tattoo is basically, well, a pretty lengthy dialogue on what I know and what I'm supposed to do. It's like a whole novel written on our back, if you will. And we have awoken in this mortuary with, well, Dhal here being the scribe that catalogs all the ones that have passed away. And we are the restless one, apparently immortal. And we have Mort with us as well, a bouncy skull that tells us that we shouldn't kill the, well, female zombie workers, because, you know, you need to be nice to them, because they are our last shot at something? Who knows? I'm not gonna inquire more. This gate looks sealed shut. There is no lock or other means of opening. This body is completely covered by a rough, dark cloth. Here we have another zombie worker. Let's examine the shell, if you will. This walking corpse has the number 1094 carved into its forehead. Its mouth has been sewn tightly shut, and the chemical reek of fresh formaldehyde hangs in an overpowering cloud around it. Despite the pallid, sunken features and lifeless, milky eyes, it is clear this was once a handsome young man. Alright. They pretty much never respond anyways, so I'm not gonna ask them whether they have seen anything. Let's see whether there's anything on this table. Nothing. Alrighty, we have learned that there were also other people that seemingly have traveled with us at some point or another in our life, undeath, I'm not sure. And Dhal here has requested that we may no longer, well, seek the assistance of more party members, because inevitably they seem to end up here as well. And unlike us, they do not raise again. So, oh, maybe I can actually get to the gate here. Ah, we can. Have I checked this table here? I have. Let's see. What else do we have? More zombie workers. More tracks where the slabs are getting ferried around. Let's see, what do you have? This huge corpse is standing silently in a corner of the room, facing the wall. He looks to have been a heavy-set man in his early years, and judging by the condition of the body, he died only recently. The freshly stitched number on his forehead reads 1664. This corpse looks like it is serving as a librarian, for it is carrying a huge stack of books in its arms. Let's examine the books. The books appear to be old mortuary ledgers, none of them of any particular interest. As you search through the texts, however, you notice a loose page folded between two of the books. You are suddenly struck with the feeling that the page tucked in there, that someone tucked in there to hide it. Let's take the page. The page doesn't look like it belongs with the ledgers. It looks like it belongs in a logbook. The tear is clean, as if with a knife, so you suspect the page was removed on purpose. Let's read through it. Oh, that was the page that was missing in the logbook that we found earlier, I suppose. You take a moment to read through the page. It's a list of dead bodies brought to the mortuary and locked in the receiving room. All the entries appear to be recent arrivals. Alright. Let's read the page. A receiving log page. This ragged page looks like it was cut neatly out of the book. It is written in a tight, scrabbled script. Oh wait, that is 16,537. Fifth night, drunk, chest wound. Cause of death, mauling / Abishai. What's an Abishai? We might learn later. Collector, pox. 3 commons paid, no possessions. The next one. Fifth night as well. Desiccated corpse, cause of death, indeterminable. Age of shell prevents identification. Collector, Farrot. 3 commons paid, no possessions. Stripped, knife marks evident from this dissection. The next one. A scarred shell, cause of death, indeterminable. Scars do not appear to be the cause of death. Shock or trauma. Collector, Farrot. 3 commons paid. Possessions locked. Fist irons, 13 commons. Middle table, receiving room. That might have been us. Who knows? Desiccated corpse number 2. Cause of death, indeterminable. Age of shell prevents identification. Collector is Farrot, again. Paid 3 commons. Logged, knife marks evident from dissection, but the dissection was not thorough enough. Copper earring found lodged in the abdomen. Earring has been locked in the southeast preparation room. Have an initiate from the third circle examine it. It has strange markings like those on the contracted worker number 79. I'm gonna write down that number. So many memories. Welcome. What's an Abishai? Oh, please remember that. Well, I guess I'm gonna write that down. Abishai. I have a note next to me, so I'm just gonna write down random stuff, I guess. That may or may not be interesting. Fifth night. Well, I guess these are all from the fifth night, if I were to guess. Skeleton. Cause of death, indeterminable. Age of shell prevents identification. Farrowed again. 3 commons paid, no possession. Stripped. Knife marks evident from dissection. As with the previous entries, these shells Pharaoh has brought also show signs of having been prepared. I have asked that initiate Emmerich launch an investigation into the matter. Furthermore, entry 16,542 is one of Farrod's gang. I have seen the individual before. I would ask Emmerich to pay heed to how the man died. 16,542. Oh, that's the next one. Interesting. Fifth night, tiefling, male. Cause of death, slash marks, discoloration of wounds are consistent with grave rot. Ghoul claws. Collector, Farrod, 3 commons paid. No possessions. Interesting. I think this was actually us, which actually means that the fist iron was ours. It's also curious that even though we were brought in from... Yeah, Farad actually also brought us in here, and for some reason he left the possessions on us. That's strange. Can we put this in here? No. Very interesting. Also, somebody must have been in here to remove the lock page. So there's a mole somewhere. Also, let's save again. I have barely done anything, but let's just save again. Let's see. The stench coming from this corpse is truly nauseating. Someone split open this man's chest and has yet to remove the internal organs. Good thing video games don't smell. There's nothing on this table. Ivine, that's a bandage. Basically a healing item. What else? There's 2 more zombie workers in here that we can examine. And zombie worker number 73 sounds like it is one of the more interesting one. Although the earring is somewhere in the southeast room or something. We need to check that out. Nothing here. This chalk-white body has been drained of blood and treated with embalming fluid. A neatly stitched seam runs down the corpse's chest. Let's see. The eyes of this corpse are set close together, and the eyeballs themselves are slightly askew. The face is to the left and the other to the right. You can barely make out the number 257 traced into its bruised forehead. It looks like the corpse has taken several blows to the head, making the number difficult to read. Don't you get dizzy with your eyeballs facing like that? There is no flicker of understanding in the corpse's eyes. They stare silently off to the left and right. You know, at some point you should realize that talking to the corpses is pointless. Or maybe is it? This heavily stitched corpse is shuffling lazily back and forth between 2 slabs. The number 506 has been stitched into its forehead and the sides of its neck and its right arm. In fact, the skin of this peeling corpse has been sewn up with so many stitches, its skin looks like a bizarre street map. Well, let's examine the stitches. The stitches encircle the corpse running from its arms across its chest, up its neck and into the damp mass of white hair. As you follow the crossroads of stitches, you notice someone has jammed a needle into the corpse's forehead. The needle is attached to a thread stitching up the side of the skull. You could probably unravel it if you had something to cut the thread. Alright, cut the stitches with your scalpel and pull out the needle and thread. You slice the thread neatly with the scalpel, then pluck out the needle and pull the stitches out. As you do, the skin covering the forehead peels back to reveal the corpse's chalk-white skull, where to your surprise, the number 76 has been chiseled. 78. Derp. Which is interesting in a semi-interesting way, because the number we were looking for comparing the earring to was 79, so these 2 corpses would be very close together in some capacity. Seems you got 2 different designations there, corpse. The corpse stares straight ahead, oblivious. Alright. This corpse, 985, has stopped dead in its tracks, judging from the condition of its left leg. It looks as if some sort of tome, rot or corpse mold has eaten through its knee. The corpse is wobbling unsteadily, back and forth, trying to keep its balance. Well, let's try and help it balance. You reach out for the corpse's left arm to help steady it. As you grab its arm, however, the corpse suddenly sways to the right, and you end up tugging the corpse rather than steadying it.
Chief, you might not what?
There is a crack from the corpse's left leg, and the body falls like a dead tree. Its torso strikes the stone flagstones and shatters like a rotten melon, filth and ichor gargling from the cavity. To your surprise, no one seems to have noticed the corpse's collapse, and even stranger, the left leg remains standing where the body was, as if at attention. After a moment, the leg falls over with a wet thump. As you gaze upon the putrefied remains of the corpse, you notice that its left arm seems intact. It has snapped from the torso during the fall, and it doesn't appear to have been touched by the tome rot that had spread through the rest of the body. I wonder if I could make use of that arm. Wait, do we have an arm now in our inventory? No, we don't, but we have needle and thread. This is a spool of thread and a small bone needle. They look like they are used for stitching up wounds in living or dead bodies. Ah, there it is. Left arm number 985. I knew it was a weapon. This arm snapped clean off a corpse 985 when it accidentally toppled. As much as the corpse's knee was rotten clean through, it looks like the combination of thick applications of embalming fluid and rigor mortis has made this arm almost as hard as wood. If you needed to, you could either use it to shake someone's hand from a distance, or use it to bash their skull in. I choose to shake somebody's hand from a distance. It is a mace-type weapon, of course. I prefer 2 to 4 damage, I think. That's 1d3 plus 1 over 1d6. I guess the club technically is better on average, but this one has higher baseline. Yep, I have armed myself. Either nobody noticed or nobody cares. That an elevator room or something? What is this place? Interesting is one word. Could be handy. Alrighty. Have we talked to you? I don't remember. Yeah, we have talked to you. Alrighty. Here we have Iveen. You see a slight young woman with pale features. The sunken flesh around her cheeks and neck makes her appear as if she is starving. She seems intent on dissecting the corpse in front of her, prodding the chest with a finger. Greetings. The woman does not respond. She seems too intent on the body in front of her. As you watch her work, you suddenly notice her hands. Her fingers are talons. They are darting in and out of the corpse's chest cavity like knives, removing organs. What's wrong with your hands? The woman makes no response.
Updated my journal.
She's a tiefling, Chief. They got a fiend blood in their veins. Usually cause some ancestor of theirs shared knickers with one demon or another. Make some of them addle in the head. And addle looking too. Tap the woman to get her attention. The woman jumps and whips around to face you. Her eyes are a rotting yellow, with small orange dots for pupils. As she sees you, her expression changes from surprise to irritation, and she frowns at you. Greetings. She doesn't seem to have heard you. She leans forward, squinting, as if she can't quite make you out. Whatever is wrong with her eyes must make her terribly nearsighted. You! She clacks her taloned fingers together, then makes a strange motion with her hand. Find thread and embalming juice. Bring here. To Iveen. Go, go, go. I had some questions first. You have been assigned a quest. Quests are displayed in your diary and in the quest portion of your journal. Alright?
Updated my journal.
She turns away. She makes no sign that she heard you.
I think the dusty shit might be a bit short of hearing, Chief. Let's lay off, shall we?
Well, I do in fact have a thread right here. Well, let's see. Watch her study the motion of her hands.
Updated my journal.
As you study the motion of Ivine's hands, you feel a prickling along your scalp, and then suddenly, you find your vision swimming, blurring, until you're standing in front of a freshly slain corpse, rigor mortis making a mockery of its smile. The number 42 has been stitched onto its scalp. The zombie is lying on a slab, and you have just finished stitching up its chest. You have placed something inside, something that may prove useful if you come this way again. 42, so I guess this was a flashback of the nameless one, huh? Echo, keep these things safe and wait for my return. The memory of your voice is an echo, strange and hollow to your ears. You cross your arms in front of your chest, and to your surprise, the corpse does too. After a moment, its hands fall back to its sides, and as it does, the vision fades, until you're watching Ivine's hands make their stitching motions once more. You have regained the memory. Memories can give you additional experience points, skills, and may even lead to you gaining something else of value later on. Well, that's interesting. Tap her to get her attention. She turns, sees you, then frowns. Dumb thumbies! She clacks her taloned fingers together impatiently, then makes stitching motion with her fingers. Find thread and embalming fluid. Bring here. To Ivine. Go, go, go. Oh, I guess I also need the embalming fluids in order to bring it to her, not just the thread. Sure, why not? Just need to find it. I figured I could just bring her thread for now. Okay. Can be rotated, more zombie workers. The shambling corpse gazes at you with vacant eyes. The number 821 is carved into his forehead, and his lips have been stitched closed. The faint smell of formaldehyde emanates from the body. Oh, so seen anything interesting going on? What? Actually responds, as you address the zombie, it blinks in surprise. Hey? What? Huh. Why are you disguised as a corpse?
Updated my journal.
The zombie is trying to respond behind stitched lips. He has a peculiar, half-frightened, half-angry expression. Who are you? What do you want? Well, who are you? I asked first. The zombie doesn't seem to have heard you. He looks you up and down for a few moments, then frowns. What do you here? His eyes narrow suspiciously. You spy on Dusties? I'm not a spy. I got sealed in here by accident. Can you help me out? He is silent for a moment, then nods slightly, as if understanding. Why should I help you? You were right. Welcome. What do we tell him? Because I won't expose your little disguise, if you help me. He seems frightened for a moment, then studies you, and the sneer crawls across his face. You spill the dark on me spill dark on you. I have friends hid here. You got nobody. You're not supposed to be here. Dusties kill you, me escape. You won't escape if I kill you. Now start talking, or I'll make that disguise a reality. The zombie's eyes narrow, and he hisses at you. You try and put me in the bed book? I have friends hide here. You got nobody. You touch me, my friends will kill you. Burn in hell then. I'm leaving. You better watch yourself, zombie. I would guess that I would need high enough charisma in order to convince him here. As you're turning to leave, the zombie makes a low growl in his throat. You say nothing to no one but me. You be it, but say nothing to Justice. He puts his fingers across his lips. Shh. Then draws the finger across his throat. Or I got you in your sleep. You hear me? So we can either tell him truthfully that we are not going to tell the dustman about him, or lie to him. I don't like lying. But I also don't know what this guy is doing here. Whatever. You mind your affairs and I'll mind mine. Interesting. Let's see what we have here. Dried blood, still fresh. Someone has inserted a tube into this corpse's leg. The tube is attached to a strange clicking machine next to the slab. Oh, that's to drain. Oh, embalming fluids, alright. That's what we were looking for the other lady. More embalming fluids. How many do we need? What does it even say about these things? Plus 2 to 8 to hit points, plus 1 to armor class. Usable only by the Nameless One and Mort. This is a sealed charm of embalming fluids. It is used as a preservative for dead bodies. As an added benefit, the smell of the fluid is more than sufficient to mask the smell of any rotting bodies it is used on. Effects are temporary. So temporary hit points gain, I guess. Sometimes you have two dialogue options, one is truth and one is a lie. Yeah, I actually really like that, because that way, sometimes in video games, the game gives you like an option where you have your character say, yeah, I'm not gonna tell anybody, and then you totally go and tattle on them, because your character meant to lie, but you as a player don't necessarily know that. Here it's made clear, which I actually really appreciate. A bloody cloth covers the remains of this corpse. Alright. Covered. Riddled with tubes, and the machine is clicking like an insect. Alright. Nothing in here. Let's see this machine here. Nothing here. This appears to be locked in some capacity. I don't think I have lockpicks. This container is locked. Can I do anything with it?
Forced it.
Bash succeeded. Oh, that's surprising, actually. Ah, there's the earring. Closed. Alright. Ancient copper earring. This copper earring looks ancient. Oddly enough, there doesn't seem to be a hook or any means of actually attaching it to your ear. A series of strange grooves have been carved on the inside of the earring, however, which might merit a closer examination. Alright, let's use it. This copper earring looks extremely old. It looks like it was meant to be worn, but there doesn't seem to be a hook or any means of actually attaching it to your ear. Right, examine the grooves. The grooves are evenly spaced along the inside of the earring. Upon closer examination, they remind you of small fangs. They are definitely man-made, but you can't figure out what they were intended for. Alrighty, so we need to find zombie number 79, I think it was, in order to maybe gain some information for that. Good job, Mort. You bashed open the already bashed open chest. Indeed. Just gonna keep making new saves. Even though I have barely done any actual gameplay. This is locked. You need a key. Let's see whether we can bash this open.
Failed.
Failed. How about using the left arm? Yeah, right. Fair enough. So there's a staircase here. There was also... No, there was no door here. Just a staircase. Well, there's a room I can't enter. May have to sneak in and get a key in some capacity, but before we do, let's go back here and deliver the embalming fluid and the thread. Let's see. Irene, have the things you wanted. Tap her to get her attention. Give her the thread and the embalming fluid.
Updated my journal.
Without missing a beat, Irene snaps the thread from your hands and hooks it around one of her talons, then begins sewing up the corpse's chest. She then takes the embalming fluid and begins to apply at the layer of the corpse. Or a layer to the corpse. I'm gonna wait. Within minutes, she is finished. She clicks her talons, then turns to face you. To your surprise, she extends her hand and drags her talon along your arms and chest. It's not that I'm not flattered, but...
Looks like you have a new friend, Chief. You two need some time together, or...
Stow it, Mort. As she traces your arms and chest, you suddenly notice she seems to be examining your ears. She withdraws her talons, clicks them twice, then bends forward and examines some of the tattoos on your chest.
Who write on you? I was do that. No respect for Zomvith. Zomvith, though, not painting.
She sniffs and pokes one of your scars. This one bad shape, many scars, no preserves. Wait some more. Her talons suddenly look into the thread you brought her, and lightning like she jabs another talon into the skin near one of your scars. It feels barely more than a pinprick, but it looks like she's about to start stitching you up. Alright, let her work. She seems to respect the zombie, so maybe she's doing a good thing here.
Updated my journal.
Max HP +1. The sensation is curiously painless as Irene begins to stitch up your scars. When she is done, she sniffs you, frowns, then stabs her finger into the embalming fluid. Within minutes, she has dabbed your body with the fluid, and strangely enough, it makes you feel better. Let her work.
This may be the second time in my life I'm thankful for I don't have a nose.
Irene puts the last touches on your body, gives you another sniff, nods, then makes a shooing motion with her talons. Done. Go, go. Okay. Thank you. So we have one more maximum HP. We're at 27 now. Oh. I'm sorry that but also don't worry, I'm not gonna be playing this game for too long because this actually requires a lot of voice, or it's a lot of reading, and I can't do this for too long in one go, let's put it this way. In fact, this might actually just be a good time to pause for now, because we have arrived in the next room. Oh boy, how long has it been? Oh. 1 hour, basically 1.5 hours to get through one room. Yeah, that sounds about right for this game. Alright, yeah, I think I'm just gonna take my own advice. I'm gonna go and say this game is definitely very, very fascinating. So much description, so many layers, and we have only begun scratching the surface without actually scratching off anything yet. So, yeah. We will just kind of slowly descend into the madness that is Planescape Torment, little by little, and probably do other stuff in the meantime too. So thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening and for lurking. I hope you enjoyed your stay, and hopefully until next time. Take care and have a good time.